2, 1.
Okay, so now we're going to put the pupusas together. The masa's ready. I have an assistant cameraman that's helping me out. Can you see my hands in there?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I just start by rolling it into a ball, and then I just go like this and turn it to get it flattened out. And then I'll take a scoop of the meat. I have our meat out, the one that we made and put in bags. I thawed it out last night. And see how the meat is kind of the same consistency as our cheese. And then I put cheese in the middle. And then more meat in the top. It's gonna look kind of like you're not gonna be able to close it. You want it really full. When you're first starting, I didn't make them so full because it's hard to do. And you just kind of roll it around and turn it and close it up like that. And once it's all closed, this one's kind of a big one. Just kind of flatten it out and just kind of run it through your hands like this to kind of make it round, and then you pat it out. If the dough is a little too dry or a little, not quite the consistency that you want, I have a bowl of water here, and you can put your hands in the water, but this one's going to be pretty big. And then you just kind of round it out. And then put it, you don't need oil or anything. My hands are kind of dry, so I'm going to get them wet for this next one, and I'll probably make it a little smaller because that one was giant. Roll it into a ball, a little bigger than a golf ball. Go like this to kind of make your flat opening. Big chunk of meat, chunk of cheese, another chunk of meat. I keep a paper towel handy to kind of wipe off my hands in between, and then close it up. It takes lots of practice, at least it took me lots of practice. Flatten them out. If you have, like, the meat's too wet, the cheese is too wet, your masa's too wet, something's too dry, they might be kind of folly aparty. And then I do it really slow if they're like that, and try to mess with the ingredients a little bit to fix it. But if you can't fix it, I just mix them super slow. So, and then you just put them on the griddle with no oil. Some people rub them in oil first. I don't know. There's plenty of fat in the pork, so I don't really think you need to do that. So we'll just keep going. Okay, I'm just going to do a video with a little bit more description, or just another clip here, because when I was learning, unless you have a Salvadoran mom or auntie or grandma or somebody to show you how to do this, it is hard to learn. So just to show a little more close up for those that are learning how to do some of these things. Like I showed before, you're flattening this out. I use like the front of my knuckles. And then putting in, you don't need to get it super flat. Put in your chunk of meat. Put in your cheese. Or if you were doing with beans, you would put beans, cheese, beans, like that. I'll make another video another time about how to do the beans. And then, I have to flip some of these here in a minute, but you're closing it up like this, okay? And turning it. I just turn it as I go, but as I'm turning, I'm just pinching it closed a little more. Sorry, I have little children whispering in the background if you can hear them. And then flatten And when you're flattening, you're using this finger to kind of curve it a little bit. So you're pinching it here and here, kind of flattening it out and curling it with your finger. Or, you know, just kind of rounding it out. And it almost looks like a little sombrero or something there. And then you pat it out. You don't have to do it this way. It's kind of an easier way to do it. And then you pat it out and round it out. I mean, this one here, I made a cheese one here, and sometimes the cheese ones are like a little bit harder to do. They break apart more. So I did it really slow. And if you get like where it breaks a little bit, this would maybe break if you had like not quite the right consistency. If you get your hands wet, kind of rub it on there and it'll just kind of smooth over where it's broken. If they break open, it's not a big deal. They'll still cook. You might get a little crunchy parts on it where like cheese or something leaks out. My spatulas are all in the dishwasher, so I have to flip these with this thing. Some people are just amazing and can just flip them with their bare hands. I cannot. It's good when they start to puff up like this. Mine do not always do that, but this one's good. It's puffing up. We like to see that. When you first put them down, they don't slide. You can't slide them around like this one. I can't slide. Once they've been on there for a bit and cook a little bit, you can slide them, and then you want to flip them. That's my cheese one, so like some of that cheese is going to burn on there. So that's all for now. Okay, so we're just going to do another little video showing another way to kind of flatten them out, so you can decide which works best for you. There's lots of different ways to do it. You can do it however you want, but I learned a couple different ways just from my husband's aunt taught me how to do it, and then I watched some other videos on how to make them when she wasn't, you know, when I didn't have her handy nearby when I was making them. So close it up. This I always do the same. I have seen people that really close it, they get them really thin and kind of like squeeze off a bunch at the top. That's one thing you could do. I don't do that, but you certainly can. And kind of flatten it out and then go like this to round it, make it round. You're using like the curve of your finger to round it out. And then pat it out because it's got the mostly round shape. See, sometimes they'll break open like that. It's not a big deal. Try to do it as little as possible, but if they do, it's just going to be, let's see if I have one that broke open a little bit. It's just going to be a little crunchier where it broke open, which is just fine. Some people do them where they're completely splitting open all over the place, and it's fine if you do that. So in this one here, it's starting to get a little dry looking on the edges, so you want to make sure and flip it. Otherwise, the other side is going to be a little bit too dry. That's all for now.